Okay, so here we are in a very busy Web Summit 2021, heading to the Radix booth and about to have a chat with Piers, the CEO of Radix DLT.
Hi Piers, well done on everything you've achieved so far. And I have a question. You've got Alexandria and Scrypto releasing imminently by the end of the year.
Right.
What impact will that have on the Radix community and basically DeFi and Radix in general? And what can I expect to see from that?
Sure. So like the launch of a new language is always an interesting thing. Like it's not an instantaneous everyone can suddenly build with it. It takes a little bit of time to get used to how the language works. But let me explain a little bit about why the language is special. Back in the 1970s and 1980s, when the game industry was really starting to get going, if you were a game developer, you had to build the physics engine first before you could build the game. And that was about 80 to 90% of the work of a game, was this really difficult thing of making physics work, like making objects work and all that kind of stuff. And then the game engine came. The game engine was things like Unreal or Unity. And that was a huge game changer for the games industry because suddenly you got physics for free. You didn't have to worry about defining the rules of how a world worked. You could just think about, how do I build the world that I want? How do I build the game that I want? And suddenly the games industry really took off. And now the games industry is worth more than the music, video, and film industry combined. For us, we've done the same thing, but with the Radix engine, which is like a finance engine for DeFi that means that finance is now an inherent property of the build environment, of the language, and takes 80 to 90% of the work out for developers and makes it incredibly easy and simple to build decentralized finance. And we think that this is a turning point for DeFi because it's the point at which DeFi starts to be about building the applications rather than defining what finance is in the first place on top of the public ledger. And we think this is a turning point, a game changer for when innovation can really start to take off in the space, and that new developers can come in without the insane process that you have to build using Solidity. So at the end of this year is our Alexandria release. Our Alexandria release will be Scrypto, our programming language that we built specifically for decentralized finance, the Radix engine components within the emulator that give you all of these finance components for free and make it incredibly easy to build. And the impact it's going to have on the community is going to be the first opportunity that people get to build in this new world of building DeFi and start to understand why this idea of financially native components in a language is so powerful and so exciting for the next generation of DeFi applications.
Brilliant, thank you. So fantastic on the Coinbase custody listing. What is the significance of that for Radix moving forward?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. Coinbase Custody is a separate entity to Coinbase itself, and it's the way in which a large amount of institutional sort of players in the space actually keep their money safe. So if you're a pension fund or a hedge fund or a large money manager, one of the big problems that you have to solve for yourself is if I'm going to buy crypto, how do I keep that crypto safe? Where is that crypto going to stay that it can't suddenly disappear and it can't be hacked and whatever? And for individuals, hardware wallets like the Ledger Nano or the Ledger X or the Ledger Blue or Trezor and stuff like that, that's fine. But for a sophisticated large institution, it's still quite a large risk. I don't know, if I lose this device plus this piece of paper, then I've lost millions of dollars of crypto. That's kind of terrifying and doesn't really fit into the profile of how people actually put capital into the crypto space. So integration with places like Coinbase Custody is huge for the infrastructure that is necessary to be able to put large amounts of capital into any token. And so for us, that's a really big step because it's not just the ability for any larger institutional player to hold Radix in a way that is safe and secure and that they feel confident with. Like I'd say Coinbase Custody is probably one of the biggest players in the space for that. But it's also the first step in being able for Coinbase itself to integrate it into their platform, because everything that Coinbase lists on their exchange has to have a Coinbase custody integration, because again, Coinbase has the same problem that institutions do, which is how do we make sure that the crypto that people deposit on our platform is safe in the first place. And Coinbase took the quite extreme approach of going, well, we don't want to trust another custody provider, we're going to create our own custody solution because we think that we can make it more secure and more user friendly and more API friendly, developer friendly than anyone else. So that's where Coinbase Custody comes from. But that's why it's significant, and we hope, we have no idea, but we hope this will mean that Coinbase will start thinking about listing is already in the process of thinking about listing our token. But there's no promises on that. Like the process of getting listed on any of these exchanges can take way longer than you want it to. But like the key here is just to keep building the community, keep building the excitement, keep building the visibility of Radix, and I'm sure that at some point we will also be listed on Coinbase.
How far away do you think we are until somebody can live a crypto life rather than a fiat life?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So the big things that we do with fiat, like the way that we live our fiat life, tends to be through a lot of automated payments. So like standing orders, direct debits, like things that we subscribe to typify probably about 80% of payments that happen for an individual. Like you go out and you spend things, sure, but the online magazine that you're subscribed to, your gym, your water company, your gas bill, all of that kind of stuff. That's the really important stuff that sits right at the core of everyone's life. And so there's going to be a large amount of lobbying that still needs to happen for companies to accept crypto as a payment. So like getting gas companies to accept crypto as a payment, getting water companies to accept crypto as a payment, getting gyms to accept crypto as a payment. And we're starting to get there. Like stable coins are a fantastic medium for that. USDC is a fantastic medium for that. USDT is a fantastic medium for that. We don't really have localized stable coins yet. Like my gas supplier wants to receive pounds. They don't want to receive, because if I live in the UK, they want to receive pounds, Great British pound. They don't want to receive dollars. That integration level is going to be a combination of customer demand, but also simplification of business. Like I've already spoken with several power companies who are like, we would love smart meters to be directly integrated with customers' wallets so that they can charge on a per kilowatt basis and have dynamic charging based on like the usage of the grid, and like start to do much more clever models of how you manage power in a country. Like this is going to come faster than we expect it to. But I think the first requirement here is going to be local stable coins that are well integrated into the economies of countries. And we've started with America with USDC, but I think that's probably about 5 to 10 years away from us being able to live an entirely crypto life. Right now we have things like crypto debit cards, which are fantastic, and people can live a large proportion of their like casual spending, but like being able to pay the mortgage, being able to pay your gas bills and stuff like that, that's a little bit further away still. But the crypto space is doing everything right. They're doing the lobbying right. They're building the new stable coins. They are getting them integrated with sort of standard retail institutions. And so like we're on the right path. But it's going to be longer than I think a lot of people would like it to be. Some people would like me to say, it's going to be next year. It's like 10 years before you can live a fully crypto life, I think. But it's going to come all at once when it comes.
Okay, brilliant. And last question. What could I do as an individual that will best help you at Radix?
Yeah, so I'd categorize that into a few different camps. The first is if you are a developer, the best thing you can do right now is, when Scrypto is available at the end of this year, download Scrypto and start playing around with it. And just give us feedback, get involved in the developer community, try and copy Uniswap, try and copy Aave, try and copy Synthetics, whatever your favorite DApp is in Ethereum, try and re-implement it in Scrypto, and come back with real like step-by-step experiences as you go down the Scrypto rabbit hole, and give us feedback about what that experience was like, what you really liked, what was more difficult to understand, what would be more helpful in the documentation, all that kind of stuff. That is the most helpful thing you can do. And then once you're down the Scrypto rabbit hole, hang out in the developer channels and help other people down that path. Like when developers come in, you have this very short period of time where people first get interested in something to converting that they need that immediate help. So if someone has a question, like if you can be there to help answer it, even like once or twice a week, that would be incredibly helpful to building that community. So like for Scrypto to thrive, there has to be a community of active developers who are playing around with it and are supporting each other and helping everyone learn, because that's the way that programming languages win. They don't win because large companies decide to do massive projects on them. They win at the start because there's a developer community that's passionate about the language and is helpful to other people coming in for the first time and getting started. If you are not a developer and you're like, hey, I'm not going to start learning Scrypto or anything like that, that's absolutely fine. The best thing you can do is on the other side, help in the non-developer community. When we're putting things out on Twitter, retweet them, share them. When we're putting things out in Telegram, when people are asking questions, get involved and help out in the community. Like, this is about creating our own tribe. It's about creating a set of people who believe what we do, about how the world can be fundamentally made better by decentralizing the global financial system. And the first steps to doing that is just building our own community of people around that set of beliefs. It's not anything more or less than that. Like, everything starts small before it becomes big, and this is the process by which that happens. And the more you can get involved in the everyday of the community and making it a friendly, helpful, informative place, the better. That is the most helpful thing for Radix today.
Thank you very much, Piers. Thank you for your time and good luck going forward.
Thank you very much.